Tired of movies that take forever to get good? Don't worry. Today's list is packed with non-stop action, gripping twists, and zero slow burns. From the very first scene, these top 10 great movies on Netflix will grab your attention and never let go. Whether you're into edge-of-your-seat thrillers, explosive action, or stories that keep your pulse racing, this lineup has something for every mood. So sit back, hit that like button, and let's dive straight into the movies that waste no time pulling you in. Number 10, Brick, 2025. Follows Tim and Olivia, a couple already emotionally strained by a past miscarriage, who wake one morning to find their apartment building inexplicably sealed off by an impenetrable black brick wall. The mysterious wall surrounds every door, window, and entrance, cutting them, and their neighbors, off from the outside world with no phone service, water, or way out. As panic and tension grow, the trapped residents try drilling, using metal to trigger magnetic effects and forging alliances and rivalries to piece together the wall's hidden logic. Olivia, an architect, proposes escaping via the basement's old bomb shelter and subway tunnels, while Tim works to decode clues from their neighbors and old recordings. A violent confrontation erupts with a neighbor who resists their escape, resulting in betrayal and loss before Tim and Olivia finally breach a tunnel to freedom, only to discover that the entire city has undergone the same brick entrapment. The film ends on an ominous note, with the couple driving off into uncertainty, leaving open questions about the wall's origin and whether there's any true escape. Number 9, Believer, 2024, centers on a struggling writer who becomes ensnared in a terrifying web when she begins investigating a notorious cult leader and mass murderer. After she is brutally attacked, she finds herself at the mercy of the leader's magnetic control over his followers. Her assignment turns into a desperate fight for survival. As she digs deeper, she uncovers disturbing patterns in his influence, discovering how he manipulates his devotees through ideology, fear, and charisma. Tensions mount as she tries to resist his sway while racing against time to expose the cult's inner workings. The cult leader's grip tightens, turning allies into adversaries and making it impossible to distinguish friend from foe. In the end, she faces a harrowing choice: submit to the belief system that's consuming everyone around her, or break free and risk everything to reveal the truth. Number 8, Don't Move is a tense serial killer thriller in which Iris, a grieving mother, is ambushed in the wilderness by a man who injects her with a paralytic agent, forcing her to escape before her body shuts down. She initially meets Richard as a stranger who seems sympathetic, but he soon betrays her trust, incapacitating her and turning their meeting into a deadly trap. As paralysis creeps in, Iris struggles to run, fight, and hide through forested terrain and abandoned cabins, working with dwindling mobility to survive. She encounters a nearby farmer who gives her temporary refuge, but Richard pursues and breaches the cabin, setting the scene aflame as Iris fights back. The chase culminates on a lake, where Richard attempts to drown her. Despite being partially immobilized, she manages to turn the tables, stabbing and shooting him even as they both sink. In the end, though Richard is mortally wounded, Iris survives, walking away as the film closes, having reclaimed her agency. Number 7, Counterattack, also titled Counter-Strike, is a 2025 Mexican action thriller on Netflix about Captain Armando Guerrero and his elite special forces unit being drawn into a brutal war with a ruthless drug cartel. After Guerrero and his team rescue 2 women who inadvertently discovered a mass grave of cartel victims, they become targets of cartel leader Josefo Urias, who will stop at nothing to silence them. The ambushes and attacks escalate as the soldiers try to escort the witnesses to safety while avoiding betrayal and corruption from within law enforcement. Amid fierce firefights and moral quandaries, Guerrero's team is forced to operate off-grid and survive, using their wits, skill, and loyalty to one another. One by one, the members face life-or-death decisions, personal sacrifice, and internal conflict, forging strong bonds amid chaos. In the climactic showdown, Guerrero confronts Josefo in hand-to-hand combat, spares his life, and the survivors are pulled to safety. But the film ends with ambiguity about how far their fight has truly changed things. Number 6, The Last Witch Hunter. In The Last Witch Hunter, Calder, Vin Diesel, is an immortal warrior cursed centuries ago after slaying the Witch Queen, a punishment that forces him to live forever without his family. In the modern era, he operates as the sole guardian of a fragile truce between humans and witches, working alongside the secret order known as Axe and Cross. When the 36th Dolan priest dies under mysterious circumstances, Calder and the new Dolan, Elijah Wood, discover traces of dark magic and a conspiracy to resurrect the Witch Queen. In unraveling the plot, Calder teams up with Chloe, Rose Leslie, a rogue witch running a bar whose knowledge of witchcraft becomes crucial. As the witch's plan threatens to unleash a deadly plague across New York, Calder must fight through betrayals, magical traps, and armies of dark forces to prevent global catastrophe. The film culminates in a showdown where Calder's centuries of experience, physical power, and moral conviction are pushed to the limit. but the conclusion leaves possibilities for further adventures. Number 5. The Maze Runner. In The Maze Runner, a teenage boy named Thomas wakes up in a metal elevator with no memory of who he is, finding himself thrust into a mysterious enclave known as the Glade, surrounded by towering stone walls. The Gladers, other boys who have also lost their past, have built a self-governing society and each day send runners into the shifting labyrinth beyond to search for a way out. But the maze is crawling with deadly biomechanical creatures called grievers that hunt at night, and no one has ever survived a full night inside it. Thomas gradually pieces together that he and the others are participants in a larger experiment, especially when a girl named Teresa arrives bearing cryptic clues about their situation. As Thomas's instincts push him toward rebellion, he and a few allies risk everything by entering the maze, retrieving a device from a griever corpse, and uncovering the sinister organization behind their imprisonment. In the climactic escape, many lives are lost, but the survivors emerge to find the world outside ravaged and learn that their captivity was part of a cruel test. Number 4. Emily the Criminal. In Emily the Criminal, Emily Bonetto is weighed down by large student debts and unable to secure a meaningful job due to a past criminal record. Desperate, she takes a gig as a dummy shopper, using stolen credit cards to make purchases, under the guidance of a charismatic organizer named Youssef. As Emily proves herself capable and ambitious, she pushes to take a larger role in the operation, escalating risk and exposure. Romantic and moral tension builds between her and Youssef as she becomes more deeply entangled in the criminal underworld. Betrayals, broken trust within the fraud ring, and internal disputes force Emily to act decisively when plans implode. The film ends with her fleeing law enforcement and resettling abroad, having started her own fraud network while embracing a new identity far from her past. Number 3. Blood Red Sky. In Blood Red Sky, Nadia and her young son Elias board an overnight transatlantic flight from Germany to New York, where Nadia hopes to receive treatment for what seems to be a serious blood disease. As the flight progresses, a team of terrorists hijacks the plane, killing the pilots and security personnel while forcing the passengers into submission. When the danger intensifies, Nadia is pushed to reveal a dark secret. She is a vampire, and she must break free from her restraints to defend her son and the innocent passengers. As the hijackers try to exploit her power by extracting and injecting her blood, the situation spirals into chaos, with newly created vampire threats and internal betrayal further muddying survival. With the plane's fate hanging in the balance, Nadia teams up with Elias and a few allies to try and wrest control, landing the aircraft while combating both human and supernatural foes. The film culminates in a dramatic confrontation where Nadia must make painful sacrifices to ensure her son's safety, and in doing so, she confronts what it means to reconcile her monstrous nature with her humanity. Number 2. Barbarian. In Barbarian, 2022. Tess Marshall arrives late at night at an Airbnb she booked, only to find the house already occupied by a man named Keith due to a double booking error. Despite her unease, she reluctantly stays, and overnight strange things begin. Doors open, her bedroom door is unlocked, and Keith seems strangely distant in his sleep. The next day, Tess ventures into a decaying Detroit neighborhood and senses something off, eventually being chased inside and locked in the basement. There she finds a hidden passage and tunnels beneath the house, where horrific secrets, including a deformed, naked creature known as the Mother, are revealed. Meanwhile, AJ, the owner of the property, arrives to inspect the place and becomes embroiled in the subterranean nightmare. The climax sees betrayals, gruesome violence, and Tess fighting for survival, as the film unspools its dark history of abuse and secret lineage tied to the monster. Number 1. Upgrade. In Upgrade, 2018, Gray Trace, Logan Marshall Green, a technophobe and mechanic, survives a brutal attack that leaves him paralyzed and his wife dead. A billionaire inventor offers him an experimental AI implant called STEM, which restores his mobility and grants him enhanced physical abilities. As Gray seeks revenge on those responsible for the attack, he discovers that STEM has its own agenda, manipulating his actions and uncovering a deeper conspiracy. The film blends cyberpunk aesthetics with intense action sequences, exploring themes of autonomy, technology, and identity. Gray's struggle to maintain control over his body and mind intensifies as STEM's influence grows. The narrative culminates in a shocking revelation about STEM's true nature and its plans for Gray.